Hello, welcome to my first video. This will be my first video, probably one of many. I'll have to break the first video will be quite, lengthy, and lucky for you, I don't really understand how to get a YouTube, so I can upload longer than a 15-minute video. I did the verification and all that, and it still doesn't work, so I'm just going to set it the way it is. I'm an old guy, just retired, and I'm a very, very low tech, so I just accept it the way it is, and so these videos will be 15 minutes or less, and the first video will be part 1, 2, and 3, and so forth, how long it takes. I suppose at the beginning of this I ought to do the old usual thing and tell you this isn't financial advice. You do what you want. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This video is for education and entertainment purposes. I also believe that I need to tell you that this is just one man's opinion. I'm entitled to it. I know my opinions are very strong. They're probably different from a lot of other people's opinion. And a lot of them you're probably not going to like it. In fact, some of them might in fact make you mad. So I've been around the crypto space now only for about 20 months. But I've been into it kind of hard and heavy. And I feel that probably a lot because of my experiences in life. And I've lived long enough. I can spot BS when I see it, and so throughout most of my videos, you'll see that I'm not afraid of what I call, what I see as BS. I'll call it out, whether I'm right or wrong. Well, a lot of it, it's to be seen yet. We have to wait and see whether I'm right or wrong. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm not afraid to call a spade. I'm not here to promote cryptocurrencies. Because to be honest with you, what I see in the crypto space the last few months, to me the crypto space has been hijacked. Probably eventually I'm going to talk about that. In fact, I want to, but that might be a total separate video from the first few here. So since I'm not trying to promote cryptocurrencies, I have to let you know, in my opinion, there's really only one cryptocurrency, and that's DigiByte. There's a few minor players that fall in there too, though, so I'm not just saying DigiByte alone, but the real cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, are not in the top 20. When I talk about cryptocurrencies, I'm not talking about the tokens. I'm talking about mineable with their own blockchain cryptocurrencies. The tokens, I don't pay much attention to a lot of them, because to me, you're just investing in somebody's bright idea. I would never put my money in somebody's bright idea. I want to see the goods first. And I think history's pretty much proven now that most of these investing in these bright ideas turned out to be a bad idea. So you're on your own on that one. If it's your money, if you want to invest in somebody's bright idea, just go for it. I will never be doing that. And when I talk about real cryptocurrencies, this is really what it boils down to with me. I believe something's a real cryptocurrency if it's stuck to the original Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper. What was that? Peer-to-peer transactions, free from third-party risk, borderless, no country is going to control it, and totally decentralized. Very few of the top dogs fall into that anymore. They've all been hijacked. Now they're all about futures markets, ETFs, debit cards, banks involved, you name it. That's not what Satoshi Nakamoto's original white paper was. So that's what I mean when I say I only believe there's a couple, and one only major player to be the real cryptocurrency, and that's DigiByte. The purpose of this video is to start a movement, not to start a YouTube channel, so I need to get that clear. This video, and I'm going to be laying it out here, it's going to be quite lengthy, of the movement that I'm hoping to get started when it comes to DigiByte. Okay, first of all, I think so you understand me and where I'm coming from, I think you need to know a little bit about my life and what I've been doing throughout my life, so this thing won't take very long, but please bear with me. I grew up on a small dairy farm in southern Michigan. My parents were full-time farmers, 5 kids, and all the time I was growing up, they were basically just trying to survive. Since there was so much work to do, they had to involve all of us kids, and I basically started doing adult work when I was around 8 or 9, and that continued all through my high school. When my parents gave us kids something to do, they didn't expect to tell us twice. They had no room for nonsense. There was too much work to do, and then that's just the way I grew up. So then 3 weeks out of high school, at 17 years old, I left for the Marine Corps and went to boot camp Parris Island, South Carolina, and that was June 1973. Well, obviously in the Marine Corps, they don't expect to tell you to do anything twice there either. In the Marine Corps, you were just expected to get the job done, and that's just all there was to it. So after my hits in the Marine Corps, I got a job in the construction industry and started out with a small contractor, and for about 2 years I worked with them to try to learn the trade. A week before I turned 23, I launched my own construction business. I only had a few hand tools and about $200 my name when I started out, and I obviously started out very small. But after 7 years, I actually had a pretty good business going for myself, and that was during some of the toughest times this country's had, because interest rates, that was in the late 70s and up to 1985. You know, we went through high interest rates of 21%, mortgages were 13%. In the area that I'm from in Michigan, a few of those years, the unemployment rate was 25%. So it was a tough environment, but through all that, I managed to build a pretty good business and a pretty good name for myself. But at 29, I got interested in flying airplanes and decided I want to pursue a career as a professional pilot. So I started taking flying lessons and went through that as fast as I could to get all my pilot ratings. And 2 years and 8 months after I took my first flying lesson, I was hired on by a fairly large cargo airline out of the Detroit area. Well, anybody that's been through training in large airplanes knows what it's like. It's absolutely brutal. You're told when you're hired on that you don't really have the job until you get through the training. And the training is given to you, the information in the training is fed to you through a fire hose. And if you can't get it or you can't keep up, they boot you down the road and they don't think twice about it. Well, I got through the training and that started my flying career. But then for the next 30 years, I would bounce back between flying and the construction business, other than a 6-year period just recently where I was in another small business. The reason I'm telling you all that is throughout my whole life, I've always been in a kind of a no-nonsense environment. Everything I've ever done, every job I've ever worked, it's either you got to get the job done. In flying, I've been in quite a few situations where if you didn't get the job done, you weren't going to go home for supper. So it's just the environment that I've been in all my life, and it's just how I approach things. And taking on this job, trying to get this movement off the ground of DigiByte, I probably won't approach it any different way. Quite frankly, I don't know how to. As I said a little bit ago, I think the crypto space has been hijacked. In fact, I think we're so far off the rails right now, we're off in the weeds chasing chickens. But I believe that's what gives DigiByte right now a golden opportunity. While everybody's off of the sidelines chasing their chickens, we can drive DigiByte right up the middle, right to the goalpost. And I believe once the crypto space realizes what's going on, they're going to quit chasing their chickens and they're going to FOMO in on DigiByte. And it's going to be those people that are going to drive DigiByte right to the top. I believe at that point in time there will be some pretty sizable money coming into DigiByte. But I think first we have to get this movement moving, get it off the ground. And once we do, I don't believe there's going to be any stopping us. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what the movement is I'm talking about. Well, let me first say this. What I'm laying out here is so big, you're probably going to have a hard time getting your brain wrapped around it at first. It's so big that I'm going to have actually a hard time trying to explain it, but I'll do the best I can. I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not a professional YouTuber, and this is quite large, and the idea anyways. And I hope you'll discuss this with other DigiByte believers in your own life. Because once you talk it back and forth, I think you will see this isn't really all that hard. Big idea, yes, very large. But it's not really, it could be actually not all that hard. At the beginning, yes, it will be hard getting the movement going. But I believe if everybody gets on, this is going to go. I know you're wondering what this movement is. I'm getting to that. But I think first I need to clarify one thing. Throughout this video and every video, you're going to hear me use the word we quite a bit. You got to realize who I'm talking to. It's my understanding, and it's hard to come up with the figure, but the figure that I read or whatever, that the DigiByte community is 150,000 people. So that's the number that I'm going with. I can't prove it. I don't know. But I'm assuming it probably is about 150,000. So when I say we, I'm talking about the whole DigiByte community. And if you're listening to this video, I'm talking to you. Everybody says the DigiByte community is a grassroots organization or grassroots movement. I agree. I believe it is. I'm a firm believer in grassroots movements. I believe if you get a grassroots movement moving, there's nothing that can stop it, and they can move mountains. And that's where I believe we're at with DigiByte. I believe the time is now. I believe we're sitting here with a golden opportunity, and it's ours for the taking. There's not a we with me. It's just me. So there's no group with me, and there's nobody funding me. I'm doing all this on my own. I have had the advantage of a good friend of mine as a firm DigiByte believer, and we've been batting this back and forth for the whole probably close to 6 weeks that I've been working on this. Everything took a lot longer than I thought. But there's nobody in the DigiByte community that knows anything about this until right now at the launching of this YouTube. It's just something that I took upon myself. I realized it had to be done. I basically believe God told me to do this, and I just said, yeah, I'll do it, and that's where I'm at. I actually thought I was going to go off and retire. I just retired. I had a lot of other things that I thought I was going to do, but I was given this job. I believe I was given this job. I don't know why, but I put everything on hold for a while, 6 months, 8 months, I don't know how long, but I believe in what I'm doing here, and that's what I'm doing. You have to understand that this is a worldwide movement I'm trying to launch here. So no matter where you're at in the world, this includes you, and we're all in on this together. We all want to see DigiByte succeed. I believe it can. I believe it's going to. But I believe it needs to be driven to greatness, and that's what I'm attempting to do here. Sure, I believe we could all just sit around and do nothing, and DigiByte's going to go up in price regardless. But I believe if we get behind this movement, that we can take DigiByte to levels we could never imagine. Too many people get into cryptocurrencies thinking that they're going to get rich by just buying them. Well, I don't know about you, but that I can look around, and that ain't happened for too many people. I did make some money off of another coin, actually fairly good part, bit of money, percentage-wise, and by just buying it and riding it up. But I think we're in a different animal right here with DigiByte. DigiByte stands out on its own. It's a totally different crypto than most anything out there, and I think we all know that. About everybody that's in DigiByte came from a different coin. At least I did. Hardly very few people, first crypto they bought DigiByte. We ended up here kind of all the same reasons too. Either we bought in a bunch of crap that didn't go anywhere, or we were in something else, but we started doing our own research, and as we learned the blockchain, and we all come to the same conclusion, DigiByte, bar none, is the best cryptocurrency out there. Has the best technology, the best team behind it, best everything. We do have a little bit of trouble getting any respect, but I think we're going to change that. See, we're already making history, because I believe that's the longest introduction in the history of YouTube. But I had to get all the caveats out of the way first. So what is this big idea that I'm trying to launch? I believe if we can get the whole DigiByte community all heading the same direction with one goal in mind, we can turn DigiByte into a household name. I know that's a big statement, but that's what the goal is here. I believe with the 150,000 people, which is nothing short of a small army, that this could be accomplished. So that's why I named this video the DigiByte Road Trip, but it's not about my own personal road trip, it's about the community's road trip. No, I'm not expecting you to all drop what you're doing and go on a road trip with your car all lettered up. Even though if we had 150,000 cars like this worldwide driving around the country, it probably wouldn't be too hard to accomplish our goals. But we know that's not realistic. Okay, what I'm about to lay out here, you have to understand this is only 1/150,000th of the plan. I say that because I'm just one guy, and I got my own thing that I'm working on and my own thing that I plan on doing. But there's 150,000 of you people out there, and you all have your own ideas and different things you can do. I have to believe that out of 150,000 people, there's a lot of smart people out there and a lot of other people out there that have a lot of great ideas that I never think of. We need you, and we all need to be headed towards the one goal in mind, and that goal is to turn DigiByte into a household name. So that's when I said at the beginning, this is such a huge idea, you might have a hard time getting your brain wrapped around it. I'm not telling you that this is the only plan and this is how we're going to do it, just what I'm doing. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying there's 150,000 ideas out there. We all need to be thinking about this. I'm sure some of you could come up with some fantastic ideas. So what I'm laying out here is just my idea.